Okay, so let's imagine for a second that you're a trainer. You have been learning how to sell and market. All right, you've been learning the processes. You've learned how to get more clients. You're getting filled up now. You have as many clients as you can handle. And now you want to keep growing your business, or you want to free up your time. You want to be able to sell more and market more, continue to get more clients. Okay, but you don't know where to start. You don't know how to hire trainers. You don't know where to find them. You don't know how to onboard them. Et cetera, et cetera. So that's what we're going to talk about now. Okay, how do you build your team so that it's not just you doing everything? How do you turn the you into a we? How do you start to build that team around you? All right, so a few things, all right, that go into this. First of all, you really need to identify who and what you're looking for. Okay, you need to figure out who your ideal candidate is, who you want to be working with. All right, and that's the first step. So next, you need to be able to cast a wide enough net to be able to find that person. This goes back a lot like sales and marketing. You need to be able to get leads. You need to be able to talk to a lot of people. And we'll talk more about that in just a second. Next, you need to be able to interview well to weed out the wrong people. All right. And make sure, again, that you do sell the right people on the opportunity. Then once you get them on board, that you don't that's not the end of the process. That's just really the beginning to a large extent. You need to be able to onboard, indoctrinate, train these people so that they can deliver on your expectations. You can't just expect them to be able to figure it out on their own. Then the final step is you need to be able to manage and lead them to, first of all, make sure that they stay on board, but also so that they are inspired and motivated enough to do great things. All right, most people, they need a little bit of spark, they need a little bit of enthusiasm and a little bit of accountability from the outside. And as a business owner, as a training director, that's your responsibility. Okay, you need to provide that support system. All right, so let's dig into that. Your ideal client, knowing who you're looking for. All right, so here's the thing. There are two major things that make up a successful hire or a successful team member. Okay, first step is their skills. It means that, what are their certifications? Do they know how to modify a squat? Do they know how to write out workouts? In this sense, those would be some skills. Okay, do they know how to use Microsoft Excel? The other thing is their attitude or their cultural fit. Okay, what's going on between their ears? Not in a learned, I know how to do Excel way, but more like their belief systems, their philosophies, right? So what we found, and I think what's becomes self-evident the longer you do this, is that you can train skills. You can teach people how to modify a squat or how to use Microsoft Excel, right? The attitude and the cultural fit is not something that you want to try to teach inside of your. You don't want to have to be responsible for teaching that. Okay, you want to hire for that. You need to find people that already have the right attitude and cultural fit. So when I say, attitude and cultural fit, philosophy, for example, if you're a CrossFit facility, you can teach people how to do CrossFit, but if they don't believe in it and buy into it, it's going to be an uphill battle if the trainer you're hiring is a strict, one-on-one, I don't think group makes sense, and CrossFit is dangerous. If that's their belief system, you have a big uphill battle, right? So philosophy is a big part. And that is up to your individual situation, your individual facility, your individual philosophy, stuff like that, right? But things that I found that are pretty universal. First of all, they're a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. What's that mean? Well, a growth mindset means that people, to keep it simple, but basically they believe that if they practice something and they research it and they put an effort to get better at it, that they can get better at it. Okay? As opposed to a fixed mindset, which means I was born this way, I am what I am. I'm not good at math, okay? I'm not good at X. That's a fixed mindset. A growth mindset says, in fitness, for example, if I eat correctly and I work out regularly, I'm going to get in shape. That's a growth mindset. A fixed mindset is, my genetics are screwed, my whole family's fat, I can't do anything about it. Okay, see the difference? You want to hire people that are growth-minded. Not having a fixed mindset. Okay. Another thing that I found is pretty much universal. is you want people who put the we over the me. All right? You want people who are team oriented, and when they're talking about their accomplishments, it's not just all about like I did this, I did that, I did this. You want them to be focused on, supporting other people and making the whole greater than the sum of the parts. Right? You want people who are good team players. All right, next, you want people who take personal responsibility for their successes and their failures. You want people who own whether or not they, did something right, did something wrong, won, lost, whatever. They own their results, for better or for worse. You do not want people who are pointing the finger and consistently blaming their boss, their coworkers, the weather, the time of year, whatever else. Okay? If it's never their fault and it's always somebody else's fault, how can they do anything about it? You might as well give up. Might as well quit. Might as well coast, right? That's not what you want. You want people who take responsibility for themselves, their lives, and their results. Okay? Last one is you want, and it kind of connects to this, but you want people who are problem solvers. Okay? It's not about complaining at the watershed or water cooler. You don't want people that are consistently focusing on the reasons they can't do it. You want people who acknowledge that there's an obstacle, if there's an obstacle, but then they find a solution to that issue, that problem, and they get busy fixing it and solving it. Okay? So those are the things that are pretty much universal in terms of the attitude and cultural fit. The rest of it, you're going to need to figure out what are your belief systems, what's your unique culture, and how do they fit into that. Okay? All right, so now that we've figured out, okay, this is our ideal candidate, we can teach them a lot of skills. This is good. Teaching this stuff is going to be much more difficult. Hopefully their parents did. So, we want to hire for that. All right, so now we know what our ideal candidate looks like, who they are. The next step, how do we find them?